Welcome back to my next playthrough series. Yes, we're going back to Night of the Living Dead. This time it's scene 3. We're continuing on the story, and this is kind of how everything gets set up at the beginning. So we'll take a quick look at our characters, because again, everything's kind of randomized at the beginning of the game. So we have some closed doors, we have all the barricades and all the windows. It's a continuation of 2. We have Judy down here in the basement starting out, and these 4 locations are where you have to put your player characters, at least one, at the start of the game. And then of course we have Larry here, or sorry, Harry. We have Harry here, Tom. Over here we have Barbara, and then up at the top we have Ben and Helen. Alright, let's take a look at their characters quickly. We played this game a couple times already. I'm not going to go over the rules per se. We have a spawn zone here, a spawn zone there, and we have one that we can't quite see up at the top, right up there. Alright, let's take a look at Barbara, Harry, Ben, and then we'll look at Tom, Helen, and Judy. So nothing too earth-shattering here. Again, we've seen it before. So Barbara's starting out, of course, in Romero's side, remember, which they do not have there. This is their zombie side miniature in orange. Their gray zombie side miniature is the Romero side. So she starts off with a table leg, and they have no abilities to start off until they flip to their zombie side. We'll get to that if we encounter that. Now we have Harry here. He's got a claw hammer, and Ben has the tire iron, which of course his picture actually has a tire iron, so it worked out good. Alright, let's take a look at our other 3, Tom, Helen, and Judy. Alright, so as far as Tom, Helen, and Judy, Tom starting off with the table leg. Helen this time's got the Winchester 94 on the table leg, and Judy has the crowbar. Judy's the only one that can take out a fatty right now, does 2 damage on a hit. Everything else basically rolling a single die, hitting either at a 3 or 4 plus, doing 1 damage. We'll take out one of the undead. I will call them zombies. They're not supposed to be called zombies, but I'm going to call them zombies for the playthrough because it's just less confusing. It is a zombie side game after all. Alright, we're going to go back to the main map. We're going to take a look at our scenario. Scenario 3, it says they're afraid of fire, and find out what that's all about and what we have to do for our objectives to win the scenario. Alright, so the scene is set. Let's figure out what we're supposed to do in this scene. They're afraid of fire. It's an easy one apparently. It takes around 45 minutes. We'll see how easy it is and how long it takes me to do the playthrough. So it says the survivors have found the keys to the gas pump. Ghouls, however, are gathering around the house and may break inside at any moment. There is no choice. In order to reach the pump and refill the car's tank, the brave souls have to venture outside and break the siege using any means necessary. Alright, so the objectives are breaking the siege. Games won as soon as both conditions are met simultaneously. So we have to have no ghouls on the board at all. And all spawn tokens are gathered into a single spawn point. Now remember, if we use a Molotov cocktail on one of the spawn points, we can move it to another spawn point. So basically we need to have 2 Molotov cocktails. We need to explode 2 of the spawn points to get all 3 into the same location. And then we have to get rid of all zombies on the board. To do that, we do have an open staircase here, so this is open. We don't have to spend an action to open it this time. And searching for ranged weapons, you have to be in the zombie side, you have to be upstairs through the staircase. And to search for melee weapons, you have to be on your zombie side, and you have to search in the room here. And yes, the only way to switch to your zombie side from Romero side, is to hand off the Winchester 94. So Helen, when we begin our playthrough here in a moment, if she hands the Winchester over to Ben, she will flip to her zombie side. So that's kind of how things work as far as special rules. Very similar to the first and second scene. Alrighty. And so here we go. So for the setup, all survivors start in Romero mode. I've mentioned that already. And spread survivors in any way fit among the starting zones with at least 1 per zone. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4 starting zones, and we had to put at least 1 survivor in each of the zones. So they spread out in the house a little bit, and the trusting each other I mentioned, handing off the Winchester 94 switches you to zombie side mode, and equipment stashes, and I've also mentioned the melee stashes here, the range stashes there, and now we're good to go. So let's begin the gameplay. And I think we're probably just going to have Helen go first because she has the Winchester 94. So basically how the game works, players get to go, and then we have a ghoul phase. Then the players go, ghoul phase, players go, ghoul phase. We do this until the objectives are met, or until we lose the game. Alright, so we're going to begin with Helen. And I should mention each character has 3 actions, and 3 actions only. Alright, so the first action that Helen is going to perform, she's sitting in here with Ben. She's going to say, hey Ben, here's a nice Winchester 94 for you. That allows Helen to switch to her zombie side mode. So that's her first of 3 actions. And that also gives her a special ability. And so let me just double check what her special ability is now, because she's flipped to her side. And that's going to be the first ability, which is right here. +1 free search action. Cool! So now that she's in zombie side mode, she's got a free search action. So let's go ahead and search. And we search by going through the brown deck here. So I'll give this a bit of a shuffle so you know that I'm not cooking the deck. And what does she find? Let's hope we need to make Molotov cocktails. So she finds plenty of shells. You may reroll all attacks with shotgun weapons. The new result replaces the previous one, may be used in a backpack. Okay, well, she'll throw that in her backpack. She may end up with a shotgun, you don't know. That was her free search action. She has 2 actions remaining. So for her, one of her 2 actions, she's going to move here into the ranged weapon search area. And for her final action, yes indeed, she's going to search the ranged weapons. We'll give this a quick shuffle here at the beginning of the game too. And so let's see what she finds for a ranged weapon, because she's in zombie side mode, she can do it. She finds the Iska. She finds a shotgun. Absolutely perfect, because she has plenty of shells. And it does 2 damage. Wow, hits in a 4+, rolling 2 dice, 0 to 1 range. Love it. Okay, so she's going to put that, of course, equip it. So she's equipped that now. She has plenty of shells. Wow, that was a fantastic sort of opening turn for Helen. Let's figure out who we're going to have activate next. Alright, well yes, the name of the game here I think is to try and get everybody into zombie side mode as fast as possible, because we are going to have to blow up a whole bunch of zombies and kill them all. We cannot have any ghouls, I should say, or zombies on the board to win the scenario. So we're going to have Ben here take his first action. He's going to go down the hallway in the room here with Barbara. And for his second action, he's going to say, hey Barbara, guess what? I got this lovely Winchester 94, and I'm going to hand it off to you, which means he gets to pop into zombie side mode. That was his second action. And for his third and final action, he may as well do a search. I think he's going to do a search action. Again, we need Molotov cocktails. And he finds a mason jars right on. So we can discard this along with flammable fluid. The survivor makes a Molotov cocktail. So right on. Ben now has some mason jars. Cool. All right, that was Ben's turn. He's now in zombie side mode. Over we go now to, let's go ahead and do Barbara. Okay, so Barbara is right here. She's going to, for her first action, move over into the room here with Harry and Tom. And for her second action, she's going to hand off, just handing off the Winchester 94. She's going to hand it off to, Tom. Tom is a purple one here. That flips her into zombie side mode. So away that goes. And now she has 1 more action remaining. So yeah, she's going to go ahead and do a search as well. We can find some ghouls when we do this, but we still have quite a few characters to activate. And she finds plenty of bullets. You may reroll once all attacks with bullet weapons. A new weapon replaces the previous one, may be used in a backpack. Alright, boom! Into the backpack that goes for Barbara. Okay, who do we want to have going next? Well, of course, we have Tom with Winchester, so we'll probably have Tom go next as well. Alrighty, Tom's going to go next. He's right here. He's going to hand the Winchester off to, you guessed it, he's handing it off to Harry. And that means Tom gets to flip to his zombie side. So that was his first action. For his second action, he will then slip on into the melee weapon room. And for his third and final action, he will slip into finding one of these weapons. So what does he get in the melee room? He gets a machete. So it does 2 damage. Discard along with a sawed-off shotgun to receive Ma's shotgun. So now we have Tom with a machete. Nice. And that's pretty good. Alright, so we handed the gun off to Larry. Alright, that was Tom's turn. And up we have left Judy and Harry left. So let's figure out what we want to do and in which order. But yes, as we flip our characters over into zombie side to side, we should take a look at their abilities. Barbara's got slippery, which means if she moves into a room with ghouls, she must stop her movement. But if she starts her movement in a space with ghouls, she can move out of there without taking the movement penalty, which is 1 extra action per ghoul in your space. Okay, that's cleared up. Did we look at Ben? I don't think we looked at Ben as far as his ability goes. Let's take a look at Ben. Ben has Hawkeye. He can shoot through, with a ranged weapon, barricades. Barricades usually block line of sight, so do cornfields. We haven't gone into that yet. But Ben is able to shoot through it with Hawkeye ability. So that's really a cool ability to have if he gets himself a ranged weapon. Alright, who else popped over into zombie side? We had Tom pop over. Let's take a quick look at Tom. I should have been doing this as we flipped him over, but it is what it is. Alright, so Tom flips over. He has shove. So he can basically shove any ghouls in his space, 1 space away, as long as there's a clear path for him to shove them. He can't shove them through closed doors, etc. But he can shove them from, say, 1 room to another, and that's a free action for him. And I do believe, yeah, so that's a free action for Tom. Alright, we have 2 characters left to go. We have Harry, who has the Winchester, and we have Judy, so let's get to it. Alright, so very simply, we're going to have Harry here go 1, 2, and for his 3rd and final action, he will then hand the Winchester off to the lovely Judy. So that's going to flip him to zombie side mode. So we will replace his character with his zombie side character, and we'll take a look at his special ability, which I have messed up a little bit in the first 2 episodes. So he has Taunt. Taunt lets him to any ghoul 3 spaces or less away from him will move towards him regardless of anything else. I have been moving them more than 1 space. They only move their activation, which is 1 space. So we'll just keep that in mind. That's Harry's special ability. Up last for our characters then, we have Judy. So let's figure out what we want to do with Judy. She's got the Winchester and a crowbar at the moment. Alright, up last is Judy. She's got currently has the Winchester 94. She's going to move through the open door into the room here with Ben. For her 2nd action, she's going to hand the Winchester off now to Ben. So now she can flip to her zombie side, of course. And now everybody is in their zombie side. She does have 1 action remaining. We could search, but then if we have a ghoul, we're going to take damage. We don't want to do that. So for her final action, I think she is just going to move, do 1 movement. So for her final action, she's going to move up into this room here, because then she can get into the ranged search area more quickly next turn. And that very quickly then is all of the actions for our survivors. They have nothing left they can do. Everybody has flipped to zombie side. What a shocker there, but that's what we need to do to actually have our abilities come into play. And did I tell you her ability when we flipped her? Of course I did not. So let's take a look at Judy. Judy's special ability is she is the sniper, which means she does not have any friendly fire. And when she's shooting into a location that has fellow survivors. So that's really cool. I think that's the only thing sniper, although I can double check that very quickly just to make sure I'm getting the sniper ability proper. The survivor may freely choose the targets of all their ranged actions. Friendly fire is ignored. Oh yeah, she ignores the ability to have to hit the fatties first before hitting anyone else. She can also choose, and there's no friendly fire. Cool. Alright, well, that was our characters, our survivors taking their turn. Now it is time to spawn ghouls. So let's zoom out and let's get spawning them zools. Zools, yeah. That's a new word for them. Instead of zombies and ghouls, they're zools. We're going to spawn some ghouls right now, and that'll be the end of our episode for today. Alright, so at our first spawn point, we're going to start here. We're going to go up the top and to the right. So that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to take the giant spawn deck. I'll give this a shuffle if I don't drop them all over the place. Alright, boom, and we're going to see. Of course, we are all in the blue zone. We're just starting out. And so blue, oh, we do get a breaker. Alright, a breaker shows up. So we're going to grab a breaker. And he is going to appear right here at this spawn point, right outside the door. I guess he heard the rustling around in the house, and he's coming. He's going to knock the door down. But we do have Ben with Hawkeye. He can shoot through the barricade, maybe pop him off. All right, let's go to the next spawn point. All right, our next spawn point is way up at the top, and let's see what we get there in the blue zone. We get nothing. So you can see relatives start popping out very quickly. Not a good thing. But we don't get anything. Oh, and when his relative pops out, everybody flips back to their Romero side. So there's that. But we dodged that one because we are in the blue zone, so nothing happens. All right, let's go to the final spawn point and get something spawning. And our final spawn point is on the right side of the board. And what do we have as we pull the top card off the spawn deck? We also get another barricade and door opening. So regular ghouls would start smashing barricades open, but nothing happens because we're in the blue zone. Of course, nothing much is going to happen in the very early stages of the game. All right, we're going to zoom out. We're going to wrap up our episode for today. I will be doing one turn per episode so that I can get these videos up rapidly and we can get through Scene 3, The Night of the Living Dead. Alright, so nothing too earth-shattering happening at the early stages of our game here. Now, keeping in mind, of course, we have to get all the spawn points in one location, which means we have to make at least 2 Molotov cocktails. We have to find flammable fluid, of course, mason jars, combine them to do that, and we have to make sure that there are no ghouls on the board at all. And currently we just have one breaker here getting ready to try and smash open the door and knock out some barricades. Maybe not going to happen because we've got Ben here with Hawkeye and his Winchester, so he might pop him off next time. We don't know. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, and likes. This is Night of the Living Dead. We're doing Scene 3. I have done the previous 2 scenes. I will put in the description a link to Scene 1 and Scene 2 if you want to catch up on the series. There's a total of 10 scenes in the game. We will be eventually going through them all, win or lose. So it's actually quite a good little contained zombie-side game. You always play with the same 6 characters, so there's not 100 and 200 different characters to play with like the regular zombie-side games. But it is very fun. It's very thematic. I really do like it. So thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Night of the Living Dead, Scene 3.